Welcome back to the channel, everybody. This is the Leicester City rebuild that you guys have been looking for. Now let's go jump straight into it, because the story of Leicester is one of drama, up and down yo-yoing, Premier League champions to relegation, then coming back up and relegation again last season. So they are definitely in need of a rebuild, and the plan is that I'm going to take these all the way to the top and hopefully maybe win the Premier League. Fingers crossed. That's the aim at the end of the 5 seasons that I've got, but you never know what's going to happen. So let's go and have a quick look at the squad as it stands at the moment. I'll go through the finances and the transfers. Just as a caveat as well, I have the database from the January transfer window. This is not an up-to-date one as of this summer. So any transfers that were made up until the end of the January transfer window, that is what we are standing at the moment. Squad-wise, very, very stacked out. And you know what, actually, so to me, anyway, looking at the players, they severely underperformed. Especially with players like Kanouse in there, Buonanotte as well, Fatawu, Samari, and I think actually probably their weakest part is their defence. Although weirdly enough, Victor Christensen is ranked as one of the highest potential left-backs on the game. I just don't think he produced that last season. And they do have a very, very good goalkeeper in Hermansen as well. Financially wise, they are absolutely and utterly ruined. I've got a little bit of transfer budget left, and I'll go and have a look at the transfers to see what actually happened. But yeah, it might look like the overall balance is pretty decent, but when you've got a net debt of nearly 100 million, that's going to impact things. And also, in real life, there is the potential that Leicester could get another points deduction in the Championship next season. Things aren't looking good for them. But if we have a quick look at the transfers, as you can see, a lot of them, in fact, all of them. I tell a lie, I didn't make one single transfer. I just went with the squad that I had. For the amount of players that are in here, I think it was wise not to bring any more players in, because it's a big enough squad as it is. And I do think these players are capable, they're more than capable on the game anyway, to make sure Leicester survive at least this first season. And that is the aim of the game. To do that as well, we have a tactic, bog standard 4-2-3-1. I'm not gonna like sort of toot my own horn or say it's like a meta tactic or anything like that. It's just what I personally like using and what I think works. Balanced in like sort of team mentality, defensive in like sort of with the defenders instead of being a little bit more attacking. My attacking players all come from the front four at the end of the day, and that is exactly what I'm looking for. Competitions-wise, obviously no European football. We have the FA Cup, Carabao Cup, and obviously the league as well. I haven't played in the games yet because it is the 13th of August, and our first game is away at Chelsea. Well, I'm going to run this first season highlights, and we're going to go and find out what actually happens. I'll see you guys in a few seconds. It's all about survival, and we did just that. Despite a really bad second half of the season, it was wins versus Southampton, Nottingham Forest and Crystal Palace that helped us stay up. In the Carabao Cup, we played well in the first few rounds, only to be beaten in the quarterfinals by Man City. And in the FA Cup, it was one step closer and progressing all the way to the semi-finals and the Wembley showdown, only to lose 3-1 to Liverpool. Well, as the first season goes, I'm absolutely ecstatic with that. End up finishing 12th in the league. Yes, we struggled at the start of the season. We'll have a look at the past positions in a second. But finishing 12th on 41 points, especially when we drew 3 and lost 1 in our final 5 games of the season, I'm actually really happy with that. And the relegated teams as well, Forest, Everton and Southampton. That's a shocker that. Liverpool winning the league, of course. Shirt behind me. Thank you very much. But I'm actually really happy with that. Past positions, I'm kind of curious, because we didn't have the best of starts. We were hovering around the relegation zone, but we kind of just picked things up, dipped off, and then came back a little bit stronger towards the end of the season. Finishing mid-table, I'm really, really, really chuffed with that. Looking at the other competitions, well, a semi-final in the FA Cup, that's a great run. And a quarter-final with the Carabao Cup against Man City, that's fantastic as well. So overall, I would say, competitions wise anyway, the season has been really, really good. But if we have a look at the squad, there are some issues, to say the least, i.e. goals. Goals were the main issue. I don't understand how we did so well this season. I really don't. Top scorer, El Canus with 12 and 3 assists. Vardy is now retiring at the end of this season, and he only got 4. 4 from Cordova Reeve, 5 from Vestergaard, so he was our second highest scorer and a centre-back. Jeez, that is not good. And if we have a look at our forwards, it's nowhere near enough goals in this. Absolutely nowhere near. So, I'm going to go and load that second season up. I've got to rectify this if I even want a chance of Leicester progressing into the European spots. We need goals. Let's go and sort it out. And here we are at the start of the second season, and already this game is against me. It's against me, I'll tell you. First game of the season last season was Chelsea away. This time it's Liverpool at home. So the title winners of the previous season I've got at home first game of the season. Well, financially wise, the balance is actually looking pretty good. I've got 34 million still in the transfer budget, and the net debt has actually reduced down a hell of a lot. So that first season really did our chances financially a lot better. And I think if we have a look at the summary, yeah, we're all clear for FFP and all that sort of stuff. Thankfully, that's what I wanted more than anything. But obviously, the previous season we had an issue with goals, and obviously all the other transfers have disappeared. And I brought in 2 players before the tick over. Tosin Sorry, Tosin. I'll just call it that. I can't do his last name. I apologise. Yeah, I signed him. He was actually transfer listed by Chelsea. Bought him in for £9.5 million. I thought out of all the centre backs we've got, he's a decent competitive member at centre back, so I brought him in. And then Badruddin Bouanani, how I say his name, but I can't say Tosin's, I do not know. Brought him in from Nice for 14 million. Really good inside forward. I wanted somebody to replace Buonanotte because Buonanotte was only on loan last season. He's gone back to Brighton. I think he's a reasonably good replacement. He's got good potential, excellent consistency as well. So we may actually get a decent player out of him. Made another 18.5 million before the tick over through sales. Casey McAteer left, about Fast has left, thank God. Danny Ward, Daniel Everson, Connor Cody have all gone as well. And then we go to the tick over, and I made another 20 million. So we've had money come in. Patson Daka has gone to Saudi. Harry Suter has gone to Luton as well. Koulibaly and Balsa Hamza Chowdhury has gone as well. A lot of loans as well. But some of the players I did bring in, and I'm very, very happy with this. Before I come to the one I paid for, the 3 free transfers I got. Sebastiano Esposito, one of the 3 Esposito brothers. Probably the lowest rated on this game, but still a very good player and a very good striking option to have. Great first touch, great penalty taking. I think he could do a job. He's just not very quick for a striker, so more of a deep line forward. Matteo Vitti, also from Nice, so he's following Bouanani, joining the club. 23 years old, Italian centre-back, left-footed, good physicals, good mentals, great technicals. Still got plenty of room to grow. Plus has good consistency. A little bit of an injury worry about him, but I'm not overly concerned about that. I think him, maybe Tosin as the 2 centre-backs will be a lot more solid than what I had previously. And then this one I was really, really excited about. I wanted another striker. This guy is young, he's talented, he's hungry, and he's got 4.5 star, nearly 5 star potential ability. I haven't used him for a while. I did when FM first came out a long time ago. He's had a bit of a buff, a little bit of a degrade, but he's still a very, very good high potential player on this. And I think if I put him in for the season, I'm going to get the best out of him. That's what I'm hoping for anyway. And then lastly, Johan Wisser from Brentford. He was up for sale. He wanted to leave the club. And the fact that I brought him in for 17.5 million after 3 really good seasons at Brentford, solid gameplay, solid amount of goals, good amount of creativity. I'm very, very happy with that bit of business. Speaking of the tactics wise, I put Ribeiro and El Canus in as my 2 permanent players to make sure they get as much game time as possible. As you can see, it's the 11th of August, so I've not played any games yet. So I'm going to go and fast forward right through the highlights to the end of Season 2 to see how we get on. Remembering, we've still got only the 3 competitions to play for. I'll see you guys in a few seconds. With the club stable, it was time to progress, and we did just that. Despite a horrible Christmas and a New Year, our form picked up, beating the likes of Fulham, West Ham and Newcastle to finish comfortably in mid-table. In the domestic cups though, it was a pretty poor showing, being that we were knocked out of the Carabao Cup 2-0 by Man United in the 4th round, and we were also knocked out in round 5 of the FA Cup by Spurs. This made for a very disappointing domestic cup campaign. Well, it's progress. We finished a place higher than last season. Hang on, let me just double check that. 2 places higher. So we're 2 places higher in the table. We've got more points. Actually, we dropped 7 points towards the end of the season, which would have meant we would have finished 9th. That's a little bit disappointing, to say the least. All the competition... Well, actually, before we do, I want to have a look at the past positions to see how... Yeah, we were fairly consistent. Mid-table team, as kind of expected. And if we have a look at the other competitions, didn't progress as far as we did last season with the FA Cup, losing to Spurs and losing in the 4th round to Man United. But I'm not concentrating on the cup competitions yet. 2 seasons of stability in the Premier League now has worked wonders. We have a bank balance of just shy of 130 million. Got no net debt anymore, which is even better. And I've got a transfer budget for next season of 55 million, which is excellent. Absolutely excellent. If we're going to have a quick look at the squad to see how the players did, well, average ratings are all over the place. A little bit disappointed at that, but the fact that I got Ribeiro and Fatawu both into double figures this season is a little bit of an improvement. Wissa got 8 and 5, that's not too bad. Karius, even though he played every game, only got 6 and 5. That is probably the most disappointing from my aspect. I wanted more from him, to say the least. Bunani didn't play anywhere near enough this season. Again, disappointing. I may have to put him in at the start of next season. And Sumer got 3 and 1. He played 42 games. Yeah, there's still some improvements to be made, I think. And I'm going to have to spend a lot of money to bring it. I think now is going to be the time to bring in players that are ready to catapult us up into those next positions, i.e. Europa League and places like that. So let's go into Season 3. I'll see you guys in a second. And here we are for Season 3, and oof, it's been one hell of a transfer window. It's been a reasonably decent start to the league. As you can see, I've actually gone on to the 31st of August this time. Only played 2 games, won 1, lost 1. Sitting mid-table again, unsurprisingly. But as I say, financially wise, our balance is still pretty good. I've still got 31 million in the transfer budget. A little bit of debt is still hanging around, but I'm not overly fussed about that. Apparently, we still have actually a remaining 91 million from the original 225 million that we had originally. So it's slowly getting chipped away at. I'm okay there. I'm okay. Transfer-wise, though, we have been busy. So, before the tick over, I brought in a few more players. The first one being Dean Howson from Bournemouth. Again, I wanted a better centre-back. Again, he's young. He's got extremely high potential. I think if I keep him for the next couple of seasons until the end of the rebuild, he is going to be an absolutely phenomenal centre-back. Everybody knows about Dean Howson. He's at Real Madrid now in real life. There's a reason for that. He is a cracking young centre-back indeed. Next one, Christian Volpato. An attacking midfielder. I wanted more from my attacking midfield. Karius did not do it for me last season. Very disappointed in that. So, Volpato, with his amazing technical abilities, dribbling, first touch, passing and technique, all 16s and above with great flair, I think this guy could do an absolutely amazing job for us. And he's actually only made 1 sub appearance at the moment. I did pay 7.5 million from Sassuolo, so we'll see. And then another Real Madrid player in real life now, and star boy of Argentina, who seems to be the next up and coming thing, Franco Mastantuono from River Plate, 5 million. Look how he's developed already in a couple of years. This guy is incredible. Dribbling, finishing, first touch of 17 and 16, passing is 16. This guy is an incredible shadow striker. He's brilliant. I've used him plenty of times before in this game. Waxed lyrical all over him a lot. I think this guy is going to tear it up, and he scored 2, got 2 assists in the Carabao Cup game. Not a bad start at all. Also made a bit more money before the takeover, if we go to here. So, Bunani spent 1 season with us and then went back to France. Got 9.5 million for him. James Justin went to Ipswich for 16 million. Ndidi left for Leeds for 14. Vestergaard and Luke Thomas. Luke Thomas went for 8.5, and Vestergaard 500,000 back to Denmark. Then we came back over the tick-over point and made another 9.5, nearly 10 million actually. Chowdhury made his transfer to Burnley permanent for 8.5. Cordova-Reid has gone to Augsburg for 1.3 million. Jordan Ayew's left on the free transfer, and a lot of loans as well. But I spent another 43 million on new players coming in. So the first one, again, goals was an issue last season. Giovanni Simeone on a free transfer at the age of 31 as a pressing forward. All the attributes are there, and he actually has a really decent goal scoring record of like 1 in 3. If I can get that out of him this season, I'll be very, very happy. I need a 1 in 3 striker at least. Off the ball, work rate, determined, great heading and great finishing. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. I think he'll do really well in the Premier League. Matisse Lambord from Inter Milan for 3 million. Now, I've used this guy before on, if you want to go and check it out, the Southampton save, and he is one of my heroes of the Southampton save. Again, young French winger / striker. Not too dissimilar in the style of Salah, actually, in his style of play. 5-star ability. I think I'll get some decent game time for him, hopefully round about season 4 or 5. He's currently on loan at Portsmouth to get some game time. Then Maxence Cacaret from Como. Really good central midfielder, great passing technique, vision, work rate and positioning, and stamina, so he can last the entire game. Very good mentals. I think this player is a baller, actually. I really like this player. It's the first time I've ever bought him as well. And then I wanted a decent right fullback, since I got Christensen on the left, and he's doing actually really, really well. Hugo Sique, the Belgian fullback, 24, from Club Bruges. Very fast, great stamina, great technicals. The crossing and dribbling is what I want for my wing backs. Great mentals as well, and he's still got room to grow. Plus enjoys the big matches. Very, very consistent. Those are the things I look for, and that's what I want. Tactically wise, nothing really has changed besides a couple of the player instructions. Mastrantuono and Cacaret I've put in there because I want them to get as much game time as possible. And there we have it. That is the Season 3 covered. Let's go and run the highlights and find out how these transfers work out for us. I'll see you guys after the highlights. It's time for us to move forward and look up instead of looking down. In the league, we're progressing nicely, picking up huge wins versus the likes of Arsenal, Man City, Man United and Newcastle to help us finish 7th and achieve Europa League qualification. In the Carabao Cup, it was a semi-final heartbreak after progressing through the early rounds. Liverpool, though, they dominated us as we lost 5-3 on aggregate. But in the FA Cup, we were amazing, progressing through the early rounds to knock out Arsenal in the semi-finals to go on to the final and face Man United. And we utterly dominated. Our Argentine stars ripped them apart as we cruised to a 3-0 victory to become FA Cup champions. Come on! That is a good season. That's a very good season. What an inspired free transfer that was of Giovanni Simeone. 24 goals this season. Perfect. Let's have a quick look at the league table then. So we finished in the Europa League spots, which is even better. Have a look at the past positions. We were consistently around those Europa League spots, so we deserve to be there. A little bit higher than the mid-table point, so we're just on the cusp of those Champions League spots. I think that is incredible progress. Really incredible progress. And to top it off, we have some silverware in the cabinet. An FA Cup by the 3rd season. And then we get knocked out of the Carabao Cup by Liverpool in the semis. But an FA Cup win, and obviously Leicester do have previous in the FA Cup. They did win it back in 2020. Sorry, not 2020, 2021 on that season. And they've won it again. On the 6th season later, they've won it. Very, very happy with that. And beating Man United in the final 3-0. Chef's kiss. But if we have a look at the squad, let's see how they performed. Well, Simeone, 24 goals and 8 assists in 36 starts. Brilliant. Wissa got 11 and 6. Ribeiro got 10 and 5. 9 and 8 from Fatawu. 8 and 15 from Mastrantuono. That is outstanding. That is outstanding. Great average ratings. They're starting to pick up a little bit as well. So Simeone, Ribeiro, Mastrantuono and Christensen all over a 7. Things are starting to progress quite nicely. So there we have. After 3 seasons, we've stabilised the club. Mid-table finishes the last couple of seasons. 3rd season, we've won the FA Cup and we've qualified for the Europa League. Let's go and find out what we can do in Season 4 to make things even better. I'll see you guys in a second. So here we are for Season 4. I have not kicked on in the season like I did on the previous season. Unfortunately, we did lose the Community Shield 5-2 to Liverpool, unsurprisingly. But then again, Yeah, they've got a monster squad in the league at the moment. And just for a nice difficult fixture to start the season off, we're at home to Spurs. Brilliant. But we should be more competitive with them now. Because financially, yeah, okay, the balance has dipped down. We've still got a little bit of transfer budget left. But I have spent a little bit of money, I'd say, to say the least. So, before the tick over, we have from Damian Marvin, a free transfer, a youngster. He got brought in, I believe, actually, by my director of football. And actually, I quite agree with him. As a 16-year-old, this guy has got all the abilities to be a top-class centre-back. Very, very good player. Then Nico Gonzalez from Manchester City, $6.5 million. He was transfer listed. I wanted another DM, another class DM. Young. I think he's a very, very good player. Still very, very good in the game mechanics as well. Colin Minton, Alfie Youngs, Errol Demir are all small signings from my director of football. Josh Phillips, Joseph Apiai and Chukwu are all signings from my director of football as well. But I did sign one player myself and I couldn't believe I got him. Ethan Nwaneri. Waneri. Is that how it's pronounced? Waneri. That's how I'm going to say it. Very young, talented, up and coming, attacking central midfielder. Great acceleration, agility, and natural natural fitness. Great dribbling, great technicals already, and I couldn't believe Arsenal wanted to let him go. He is injured, unfortunately, out for 4 to 7 months because he's done his cruciate. Brilliant. Fantastic. So we're not going to see him for the rest of the season then. Nightmare. Oh well. But we did sell a couple of more players as well. A couple of loans went out. Harry Winks got sold to Leeds for 20 million. Nice to make a bit of money on that. 21 million for Mavididi. He went to Ipswich. Even better. And then after that, we made another 10 million through loans and a couple of cheap sales. Esposito was left. He didn't really hit the ground running with us. And Sammy Braybrook has gone to Sassuolo. Knuth I've decided to loan out. He's not turning out the way I hoped he would. But I did bring in a couple more players as well. Starting with the lowest. Filippo Missouri. Right back, backup for CK. And I think he's very, very capable. 23-year-old Italian fullback. Great technicals. Basically average attributes. All from 12s to 14s and 15s. Exactly what I look for in a backup. Somebody who's capable, but probably not going to be a first teamer. Then Sam Amior from Southampton. A young left winger. English. Obviously, you had to pay the English tax. Again, good attributes in the position that he's in. 21 years old. Will we see the best of him in these 2 seasons? I doubt it. But he's a good squad player and a good player to have as a backup. And then I wanted a tank. I wanted a Panzer, a Tiger tank in the central midfield. And that guy is Anton Stack. German defensive midfielder, ball winner, great teamwork, work rate, determination and brave. Great stamina and jumping reach. Extremely physical, but not only that, can pass a ball around. So, all in all, for me, he's like one of the most underrated defensive midfielders on the game. And if you can get him, go and get him, because he's outstanding. He really is. Tactically wise, again, I'm keeping it exactly the same. It's working for us, so why would I change it? I shouldn't. Before we go on, just to show you the staffing side of things. The staffing over the last few seasons, I've been gradually working up and up and up. And as you can see, the coaching side of things, I've nearly got it maxed out as best in the league. So that will help us for these final couple of seasons. Speaking of the seasons, well, we've hit the highlights point of season number 4. I've got to roll that and I'll see you guys straight afterwards. In the league, it was yet again another fantastic season. Brentford, Brighton, Arsenal and Chelsea all fell to our awesome side as we secured yet again more European football with a 7th place finish. Domestically, in the cups as well, it was yet again semi-final heartbreak in the Carabao Cup as we lost to Man United, and in the FA Cup it was a very disappointing showing as we only made it to the 4th round in a replay and Ipswich knocked us out. But in Europe it was a different story altogether. Early wins versus Leverkusen and Nice meant we actually finished in the top 8 of the Europa League. After dispatching Shakhtar and Man United, we went on to face Young Boys in the semi-finals, who we utterly destroyed 5-2 on aggregate to face the old lady of Turin, Juventus, in the Europa League final. In an eventful final as well, we took it all the way to penalties. And we ended up victorious as we won 10-9 to win the Europa League for Leicester City. And now we have found our consistency point. That is not too bad at all. 7th place finish again. But we have that Champions League. All because we are the Europa League winners. Another bit of silverware, admittedly. It's on penalties. But it doesn't matter. We won the Europa League, and that means for the 5th and final season, we are in the Champions League. I couldn't ask for more. I really couldn't ask for more. And semi-final knockout in the Carabao again to Man United. A 4th round knockout to Ipswich in the FA Cup. Yeah. If we have a quick look at the Premier League, past positions as well, we've been consistent again. In fact, we sat around sort of 3rd to 5th for a little bit. Dropped off, but claimed our European spot, exactly what we should be claiming around about now. Squad-wise, again, Simeone with another 24 goals. So that's 2 seasons, 16 and 17 in the league, 24 and 24. 48 goals in 2 seasons for a free transfer. Really cannot knock that at all. Ribeiro has had a bit of a breakout season, 18 goals and 8 assists with 51 games, which is outstanding, and his progress is getting better and better. Unfortunately, he is wanted now, but yeah, some of the big boys have come along and looked at him and thought, yeah, we're going to snap him up. If I can get 60 to 70 million for him, even better. Volpato played 14, 26 off the bench, 13 and 7, a great return. Mastantuono, 11 and 13. Obviously, Waneri got injured, but still managed to get 22 games under his belt, 5 goals and 7 assists, and a great average rating. High hopes for him in season number 5. That's pretty decent. And speaking of season number 5, let's shoot straight onto that and get this finished off and see if we can end this on a high. See you in a second. And here we are for season number 5. And firstly, if you have made it this far in the video, thank you very much for watching. This is a slightly newer format that I'm attempting to do, seeing as the longer series stuff, the episodic style things are starting to drop off a little bit. So I'm going to try and do a lot of these saves condensed down into one video now, to see how that works from my perspective and obviously from an audience perspective. I hope it's engaging enough. If it is, don't forget to leave a comment down below. Don't forget to like the video and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I want to get this channel progressing along at a decent pace, and it is down to you guys to help me do that. So please do that for me, and thank you very much for the ones who are returning viewers and have watched this through. Now, back onto season number 5. As you can see, we played a few games already. I'm at the end of the transfer window, and we have done really well. 3 wins against Southampton, Bournemouth and Everton, and a draw versus Fulham puts us 2nd in the league with 10 points. Brilliant. Financially wise, we are still sitting very, very good. We only have 19.5 million left of the actual debt to pay off. That Champions League qualification has helped out a lot. A hell of a lot. Still got 31 million left in the transfer budget as well. Speaking of transfers, well, as you can see, nobody in after the tick-over point. I did sell another £30 million worth. Lambord, unfortunately, things didn't work out this time. I like the player, I liked him in my Southampton save, it just didn't work out in this one, strangely enough. He spent a couple of seasons on loan, he went to Portsmouth, did alright, did really well at Sheffield United, 11 and 4, 2 player matches, over a 7 average rating. And then Brentford came in and snapped him up in the Championship, so I was like, yeah, that's fine. I paid 3 million for him, and I've sold him for nearly 20, so that's really good business. Sumer has gone out to Saudi for 13.5 million, and a few niff-naff and trivia ones. And if I look at this, a couple of players, small amounts before the tick over, but I did bring in a couple of more players before the tick over, and I didn't want to fill out the squad too much. The squad I'm actually quite happy with. I don't think we're going to be Premier League contenders come the end of season 5, but if we can win another trophy, for me that is pretty much job done, and we've saved Leicester. But the players that I did bring in, I wanted to bring in a new left-back cover who was English as well, because I had some issues with the homegrown quota for qualifying for the Champions League. So Leif Davis from Ipswich has come in. Corners and crossing are his strong point. Great stamina, great physicals. Needs to work on the mentals a little bit, but he's 28, so I don't think that's going to get any better. For me, a great backup for Christensen. And then the biggest amount of money I spent was 58 million on Kareem Konate. 24-year-old Ivorian pressing forward, I think is going to be the replacement for Simeone. Simeone now is 33, so I don't think he's going to get a full season. I think this guy is outstanding. He went to Newcastle from Salzburg for 32 million. Didn't get too much game time, didn't score too many goals. Has got 1 goal in 6 appearances for us so far, so is it going to be 58 million chucked down the drain? I don't know. But, as I say, we are at the end, or coming to the end of Season 5. I'm going to go and run the highlights. Let's go and see how our team does. And fingers crossed, we actually get another bit of silverware. I'll see you guys in a few seconds. This season is the epitome of an almost season. We were immense in the league, beating the likes of Newcastle, Arsenal, Man City and West Ham. And all that kept us in touching distance of the title, but it just wasn't meant to be as we finished 3rd and gained Champions League qualification. In the Carabao Cup, yes, you guessed it, it was another semi-final defeat to Manchester United. And as for the FA Cup, it too was semi-final heartbreak as we lose to Spurs 3-1. In the Champions League was the bigger surprise. We struggled in the league phase and just about scraped through. What happened next was utterly immense. Knocking out AC Milan, Manchester City and Arsenal before facing PSG in the semi-finals, who we actually managed to beat and reach the Champions League final against last season's rivals, the old lady of Turin, Juventus. But sadly, the old lady got their revenge as they became European champions after a 1-0 win. Well, hang on a second. I've got to rub my eyes a little bit at that. What was that season? That season was incredible. We were so close to ultimate glory. It was ridiculous. We'll talk about the league first before I go on to the other competitions, but finishing 3rd, qualifying for the Champions League, only finishing 10 points off the league leaders Arsenal. And again, we dropped, what was that, we dropped 7 points again. We could have ended up finishing 2nd and involved in the title race if we just picked up our form a little bit towards the end of the season. If we have a look at the past positions, yeah, we were there or thereabouts. We deserved our Champions League qualification for the 2nd season, definitely, without a doubt. If we have a look at the season preview, we were predicted to finish in 8th, so 100 to 1, and we finished in the Champions League. I really cannot complain of that. But it's this. Utterly unreal. I was gobsmacked at that. Okay, we picked up the UEFA Super Cup. Brilliant. That's a European trophy? Sort of. I'm going to count it. The European Charity Shield-ish. But we just can't get past the semi-final in the Carabao Cup. It's really annoying. And a semi-final knockout in the FA Cup to Spurs, that's a bit of a kick in the balls, to be honest. But Champions League final. And we lost to our nemesis, the old lady of Turin. Juventus beat us in the Champions League final after we beat them in the Europa League final last season on penalties. They got their revenge on us, but on the biggest stage of all of Europe. I'm genuinely gutted about that, but I'm also genuinely surprised. I did not expect that at all. If we have a look at the league phase, we struggled massively. We barely scraped in at the bottom of the table, and then we just had to do it the hard way. Knockout player round, penalties against AC Milan. Another big scalp, round of 16. Comfortably actually knocking out Man City 4-1 on aggregate, which is a bit of a surprise. Then the quarterfinals, beating the Premier League winners Arsenal 5-3. Unreal. Semi-finals, PSG, the French royalty. And I believe previous winners a few years ago, so yeah, they were there. And then into the final against Juventus, and we only lost 1-0. I'm stunned. I'm genuinely stunned and genuinely gutted that we didn't win that. That would have topped off the end of this video perfectly if we'd won that. We were so close. We were so close. Let's have a look at the squad before we finish this off. I'll go over the finances as well in a second. As we finish the season off, Canate turned out to be a hell of a good buy. 21 goals, 2 assists from him. Master Antoine played every single game this season, 15 and 16. Has developed into an absolute beast of a player at the age of 21, valued over 70 million now. Brilliant. Volpato, again, oh, get off. Volpato is wanted by Saudi, but only 22 games again. 11 goals, 5 assists, 8 and 2 from Simeone, which from 30 starts is not bad at all. 7 and 11 from Wanieri, which again is good. 7 and 7 from Fatawu, who didn't get as much game time, but still produced. And Hermansen had a real... In fact, let's have a little look at Hermansen, because actually, you know what? He's not developed into what I would expect. He's unhappy, he wants a new contract. End of the series, it doesn't really matter. I expected him to develop into more, especially in the technical attributes. I'm a little bit surprised at that, to say the least. But overall, fantastic from the squad. Again, the tactics stay the same. If I go and pick my best 11 to show you as the best 11 is when we finish this series off, we have Hermansen, Howson and Vitti, CK and Christensen, Nico Gonzalez and Ollie Skip. I don't know why that is. Volpato, Mastantuono, Wanieri and Canate. That's a really solid team. Absolutely amazing side. Financially wise, that Champions League run as basically... if I went on to Season 6, it would clear the debt easily. 155, 160 million, 100 million almost in the transfer kitty. That is brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Well, there we have it, folks. That is the 5-season rebuild of Leicester City, and I would say that is pretty successful. We have taken Leicester City from the relegation mire, the relegation threatened, to finish 2 seasons mid-table, then qualifying for Europa League, winning the Europa League, and then qualifying for the Champions League twice, and almost winning the Champions League. Losing in the final, only 1-0. Absolutely gutted. And you know what? I think that deserves a like on the video. And make sure you subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next series. Thank you very much for watching. I'll catch you later. Ta-ra.